Hey there, Aquarius. Welcome to your reading for the week of October 6th. This week, we are going to jump right in here, Aquarius, and you start with this Truth Be Told card and this No Place Like Home card. Yeah, a lot of truths being revealed at this time, so I don't know, kind of makes sense. Some of you, I was looking at your astrology today, and you have Jupiter opposing Pluto in your sign, and the interesting thing about Jupiter opposing Pluto is, like, most astrologers would say that Jupiter transits are usually positive, right? And no matter what, basically. And, again, Jupiter opposing Pluto can be, it's not like bad, but it can be a little bit more on the challenging side of things, especially we're getting to the end of this retrograde. And, the Pluto retrograde will end in the middle of October. But Pluto, that opposition between Jupiter and Pluto, especially with Pluto in your sign, it can create this, like, very strong desire for, success, freedom, or being able to expand in your the reason I'm saying this is because of the Three of Wands showing up in your reading. And so it creates this, very strong desire to expand or to grow, to create more success, things like that in your life. And it can be a little bit more of a challenge. It's like you want positive change in your life, but it can also be hard to create that positive change with the with that opposition. And so we kind of have to do things like look at opportunities for growth. We also usually have to face fear. It's like Pluto retrograde, some people describe this as overpowering fear. It's like those fears that no matter what, you just can't push past. And I feel for some of you, again, I don't really feel bad about this necessarily for you, Aquarius. Again, you can create a lot of change and growth during this time, and also Jupiter's moving forward, Pluto's going to go direct. They're going to separate sooner rather than later. So it's like I said, this is not something that you're going to be dealing with for so long, but I do feel the energy. The other interesting thing I notice is Jupiter is at 22 degrees. 22 is a pain in the ass. 22 is a master builder number, and usually with the number 22, we have to, it's like sometimes we have to build things multiple times, or we have to, kind of like try to build something multiple times, and, we have to kind of like go back to the drawing board and retry things. And so I kind of feel that energy for you here, and yeah, just something that I would think about. You have the Ace of Cups as well here in your current general energies, and the Ace of Cups can be your emotions overflowing, being very happy. So there can be a lot of happiness and joy coming in for you at this time. I do feel happiness as well. The other thing I'll say is that, with this Jupiter-Pluto transit, it's kind of like external power versus internal power. Pluto is power, and there could be moments where your beliefs are enforced internally. There could be moments where you don't believe things, or there's conflict with your beliefs externally with other people. I don't know why that's also popping to my head. Again, it's weird that I feel like talking about this in your reading. So clearly that could be that this transit could be something that is affecting you more than some other things. But not only that, you have two aces here. Two aces is like a definite yes to any question that I haven't answered. And so, again, if you have a question, I would say yes with this energy. You have the Knight of Wands. Yeah, probably what the universe is trying to push you to do is to become an explorer. Funny enough, the Knight of Wands is the true builder in the tarot. And again, I was talking about this master builder number 22 with Jupiter. And, it'll only be at 22 degrees for like a few more days. It's at like 22.3 degrees or something like that. I don't remember off the top of my head. But, again, it'll be like a few more days that it's at 22 degrees where you could be feeling this pressure, to build something in your life or to create something. The Knight of Wands is about needing to be spontaneous or allowing yourself to be spontaneous. And sorry, okay, we're good. My recorder didn't look right. It just is, and I can't tell you how many readings I've recorded over the years that I didn't record. So had to make sure here, Aquarius. But again, I think being spontaneous would be a good idea with the Knight of Wands. So let's see what's going on here. With the Three of Wands, you have the Seven of Pentacles. Yeah, I mean, and partially that transit could be about what's worth it and what's not worth it. Seven of Pentacles is, is the juice worth the squeeze? Is it worth it to create the things that I'm working on? Is it worth it to put the work in? Do the things I work on give me power? Do they make me feel powerful or weak? These are all questions that you could be asking yourself. And yeah, I think it's a great time to just examine those things. Again, it's kind of like this month, I feel, really the action part of this month is maybe like the middle of the month, right? Pluto goes direct, and also we'll have Neptune retrograding back into Pisces. So again, maybe the middle of the month is more action. Right now, it's a good time. I do think it's a good week for you to examine. Just ask questions about what's going on in your life. With the Ace of Cups, you have the Two of Swords. Yeah, it's like nothing is, I think this is like the hardest part of being alive right now, is nothing is really black or white. There's like everything in between and all over the place, right? We have Uranus and Gemini. So, it's like everything that we're dealing with in life, there are many, many perspectives on the situations that we're dealing with. And also I think the other hard thing is that like everything is possible, even if it seems impossible, and especially when Neptune goes back into Pisces, that is like unlimited possibility, but we have to create it. And so I feel this is kind of like challenging you to look for other ways of doing things. And you even end with the Seven of Swords, which is like the same thing. With the Knight of Wands, you have the Page of Cups. Yeah, a little bit of love here. Everybody's been getting a little bit of love here at the end of the year, which makes sense. It is a good time for love for people, so if you want love, definitely could be a connection coming in for you. There could be fears that are getting in the way as well, with that Pluto-Jupiter energy, like I said. So, again, could be something that you're working through. I don't really have anything to add to that. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this Earth Magic card and this Bearing Fruit card. Yeah, the Earth Magic card is about grounding something in reality. The Bearing Fruit card is kind of like it can say that abundance is coming in for you, but I kind of feel more of like you need to nurture the things that are working in your life, It's almost like you need to, kind of like push it until something stops working. But I don't think it will either. It's kind of like one of those weird things where, I'm trying to come up with a good way to describe what I feel here, but it's like if you're, it's like if you're talking to someone, for example, in love, it's like just keep, like I feel like you maybe stop yourself, or you get to a point where you stop yourself, which is kind of like what I'm seeing in my head. But I feel like this is escalation. That's the word I'm looking for. I feel like there are things you can do, steps you can follow to escalate things in your life. And I'm not even just talking about love, but it's like love. You could talk to a person. You can say hi. If they say hi back, say something else, because, that will take it to the next level. Then you can get a little bit more flirtatious. There's something about like the steps that you're doing. Same thing in work or business as well for you here, Aquarius. I almost feel like you're playing it too safe. It's like, it's like there could be more money that you make, for example, but it's like maybe right now you're in a little bit of a comfort zone, but if you would escalate it, just take it to the next level, I think things would grow. And don't stop. Keep climbing that ladder here with these cards is what it's saying. You have the Page of Swords, the Ace of Wands, and the Five of Wands. I think it's like the next logical step as well. It's like maybe you need to, it's like maybe you don't realize what the escalation is for you. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, I wish I had a better way to say this, like I said, but, it's like I'm a big fan of 1% improvements every single day. I talk about it all the time. And so it's like, I think people don't realize how quickly that adds up. It's like literally for this YouTube channel, I was stuck at 40,000 for years, subscribers, right? All I did is I started watching one YouTube video every single day about YouTube, and then I implemented what I learned. I still do this to this day, and I think, my numbers speak for themselves here. So, again, I just told you my secret for free, right? There you go. It really isn't much more complicated than that. So I think like researching what your next step should be if you're trying to escalate something would be a good idea. You have the Ace of Wands, very creative week, great week for creative energy. So that's like the first thing I'm getting off the Ace of Wands. Ace of Wands is like out with the old and with the new. And so I would definitely feel free to start anything new. It is an excellent time for everyone basically to start anything new that they could, any new projects or new ideas are a great thing to do at this time. So, I think that would be great with Ace of Wands. Ace of Wands is really about growth and, paying attention to things that grow. So, with that Bearing Fruit card, I think, paying attention to things that are working would be a good idea. We have several cards here that really want you to try new things. Two of Swords, Seven of Swords at the end, and also this card, Ace of Wands. You have the Five of Wands. I have not seen the Five of Wands so much in such a long time. Like, everybody's been getting the Five of Wands lately. This started for the monthly readings for October. Like, everybody had the Five of Wands. And now in this week's readings, everybody has been getting the Five of Wands. So, again, with Pluto going direct soon, like the middle of the month, it kind of makes sense because Pluto is power. And so, we could all be thinking about power, how we use our power, how people take power from us, how we give away our power, things like that. And, maybe those things aren't directly competition. Like, the Five of Wands is conflict and competition. But, we are all in, life is competition. I think sometimes people forget that, we are all, whether we realize it or not, kind of like competing, and so I feel for a lot of you that you could be having a lot of those questions about like power, where you give your power away, where you can take it back mostly. And like I said, I think it's a great week for you to just think about it. I don't think you have to come up with any answers or anything. With the Page of Swords, you have the Devil card. Again, same thing. Devil can be an energy vampire. An energy vampire can be anything. It doesn't have to be a person. It can be a person, a place, or a thing that steals our energy. And so if there are things that steal your energy, then I would avoid those things. If there are things that give you energy, I would double down on those things as well. The devil isn't all bad. It just says, like, look at the things that are toxic and eliminate them. And then, that obviously the other side of the scale needs to be balanced out as well. And so I would definitely pay attention to that. Again, the devil, these two people are stuck to the black box of Saturn here. And the thing about the devil is that those people, the chains hang down to like here on their chest, right? The whole point of the devil is they could easily set themselves free. And we were talking about this fear thing with Pluto, Jupiter. And so, again, maybe it's like some of your fears could be easier to overcome than you realize. And I would set yourself free with the devil. With the Ace of Wands, you have the Five of Wands again. So this could represent a creative solution to a problem. So if there is competition in work or business or something you're doing, you could be coming up with a creative solution. The Strength card says you have the strength to overcome this. So going like this way, you clearly do have the strength to overcome something. With the Five of Wands, you have the Three of Cups. Yeah, I see this a lot now as well. It's like I think people are getting into more concentrated connections. I'm not just talking about love. I'm talking about friendships, your family, people you spend time with. The Three of Cups is my card of concentrated connections. It just seems to be one of those weeks where, people should really pay attention to where people are coming from. And so it's like, if there are people who steal your energy, obviously I wouldn't spend very much time with those people. If there are people who come from, love and abundance, those are the people you should spend the most time with the Three of Cups, because, these three people are celebrating a harvest, but they're like celebrating each other. And so, obviously nurturing those connections is going to be more beneficial than spending time with people who cause conflict, right? And so I would, kind of protect your energy this week. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have this Breathe In card. It says, practice breath work today. You have this Find Your Haven. It says, there is a place of wonder waiting just for you. Yes, probably on the other side of this transit with Pluto, Jupiter, which again will be over soon enough. Jupiter is slow moving, but it's not as slow moving as Pluto. And so, we'll kind of move past this. It will move past this Pluto energy very, relatively quickly. And so I feel a lot of you are kind of going to do that. I also think that, again, with obviously with the Strength card, she is taking back her power. She is controlling her inner voice right here. She's being brave and courageous. And, these are really great energies that have come up all year. I said at the beginning of the year that really we are in a time where fortune favors the bold. We have to take, bigger risks, make bigger moves. And, if we do that, we can be very successful. I'm also like getting something about hope. It's like, I'm not saying that you shouldn't hope for things to happen, but I would say like both. It's like if you're hoping that something is going to happen, nurture that energy. Sure, it's not a bad energy, but also take action, right? It's like, I think if you're just like hoping that things will happen, probably not. But you should have hope, right? That things will go well, but also do something to make whatever you're hoping will happen. And, I get like a little bit more action here. And, again, it's almost like you're proving to yourself that you are confident, which is basically what she's doing here. The lion is submitting to her on the strength card. So she is the one that's in control. But she is putting her hand, she is controlling its voice. She's controlling, really the lion represents her inner voice, her inner critic, and she's the one that's in control. You have the Wheel of Fortune. Again, still, there is like a lot of luck here. I think that luck kind of changes in the middle of November. And again, the reason I'm telling you about this now is because November is right around the corner, and I always say we should be catching astrological waves early, right? So, people always ask me, why are you talking about November and stuff like that? I'm like, because you can do this now, and then you don't have to wait. And by the time we get there, it's like you'll be the smartest kid in class. That's how I look at astrology. It's like if you work with the energy early, it's like imagine if you knew algebra, which I failed my entire life, right? I was in the special class for math my whole entire life. And, imagine if you knew algebra before you took algebra. It's like you wouldn't even have to study. You would ace every single test. And that is astrology. We can work with the energy now. By the time we get there, it's like you're like the little nerd that sits in the front of the classroom that's always asking for homework. And the teacher is like, oh, you get an A+ because you already did the work, right? And so, when we get to November, Uranus retrograding back into Taurus, middle of November, again, it's not really lucky, but the thing about Uranus and Taurus is we can create our own luck. And I feel that you should be putting yourself in situations where you can create more luck or get more lucky, right? So this goes for, doubling down on things that are working in your life, recreating wins, any past wins that you've had in your life, paying attention to that would be very important. I'm trying to give more examples in my reading because some people have asked, but it's like, it could be anything. It's like maybe you did something for your health 10 years ago that worked. Try it again. Maybe you did something in your business that worked. Try it again. I think sometimes people forget that they can repeat their winners. It's like I teach YouTube on the weekends, and literally even before that, I had a marketing agency when I was younger. Like literally all I would do is go into businesses and I would tell them what was working. I cannot tell you how many businesses have no freaking clue where their money is going and what's working, right? So, and also, speaking of YouTube, people will be like, I can just create another version of the same video. I'm like, yes, if you look at the top YouTubers, that's all they do. They just repeat the same winner over and over and over again. And so that is the Wheel of Fortune. It just says repeat your wins because you'll have more. You have the Nine of Wands. Nine of Wands is like the wounded warrior. Yeah, I mean, I think that for everyone, it's a good week to heal from the past. There's something about the first 2 weeks of the month that, again, are kind of maybe triggering the past. Not in a bad way, I think, mostly about like where you have given your power away. And, again, healing those things, paying attention to the lesson, making sure you don't repeat it with the Wheel of Fortune as well is going to be important. So, the Wheel of Fortune goes both ways. Most people live in what I call the washing machine of life. They just get tossed around all over the place. The wheel spins backwards, it spins forwards. They have no control over it. But, again, if we double down on the good stuff, take care of the challenges right away, then we can live a better life. With the Strength card, you have the Strength card. So definitely very important for you this week to focus on your inner voice, I would say. Strength is the words that we say against ourselves. And but that can also be positive, right? You can speak positively about yourself with the Strength card, and you will get more benefits in the positive direction. With the Wheel of Fortune, you have the Ace of Pentacles. Yeah, it's like you're getting another opportunity. The thing about the Wheel of Fortune is we have this snake here. And snakes represent fears. So clearly it is a week. Like everything here, even the Strength card, right? It's like who in their right mind would stick their hands in a lion's mouth? That would be pretty scary. So, again, there is clearly with this Pluto-Jupiter thing, I knew it was going to be important when I started your reading. So, it's going to be important for you to overcome those fears. The Ace of Pentacles could be an opportunity that's kind of like coming back around. And I do feel like this is a little bit of a cycle. But, I feel like you need to escalate something. That's the word that I said earlier. I wish I had more information on that. I feel like there are probably things that you could learn about, how to escalate things as well. And, you know, that's like really what I feel. I wish I had more to say, but I don't. So again, I would like escalate an opportunity you're getting. With the Nine of Wands, you have the Hierophant. Yeah, think outside the box. I mean, you're probably going to get this card for like 19 years because we have Pluto in your sign. And, you know, Pluto in Aquarius doesn't really want to be boxed in. And, you know, a lot of people say Pluto in Aquarius is the collective, which is true, but it doesn't say that you should become part of the hive mind. You know, Pluto in Aquarius wants us to have our own mind and our own ideas. So I would make sure that you're not getting boxed in here. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have the Seek Healing card and this Accept Responsibility card. It's a great week for healing in general, so, you know, I think doing that would be great. The Accept Responsibility card, I think, is the Strength card, probably. And, you know, it's coming up in the good stuff, so it's probably not going to be a bad thing, but, you know, I would make sure you're tapping into that good energy of, like, watching your voice, watching your words, things like that. You have the Seven of Swords, the King of Swords, and the Queen of Wands. Seven of Swords can be lying, cheating, stealing, but, you know, again, it's coming up in the good stuff. I always tell people, Seven of Swords is a good card. It is a golden card. Golden cards in the tarot are meant to be positive, no matter what. So I think the Seven of Swords gets a bad rap in the tarot for sure. And, you know, really, it's a card of doing something differently. Instead of going to war, he is stealing these swords from this army. And so the Seven of Swords can represent, you know, finding a different approach to something that you're wanting to be successful. Obviously, with the astrology, you know, again, Pluto opposite that Jupiter is going to be, this is the secret sauce for you, is kind of like finding or trying different approaches to things that you want in life. You have the King of Swords. Yeah, probably you just showing up here in a strong position. Whenever you know, this reading is all about you. I don't really feel this is about, like, love, really. It's like, sure, there could be some themes about it in the reading, but I think mostly this reading is all about you, Aquarius. And, you know, that's kind of what I feel the King of Swords is saying, is that, you know, it would be, and also the, you know, this card here, whatever it said, and it's not working, it said Seek Healing. There we go. You know, you have several cards that would say it would be a great week for you to just, like, heal yourself, nurture yourself, work on your inner critic with the Strength card and all that other stuff. So it might just be a good week for you to focus on yourself. You have the Queen of Wands. Again, I think it would be a great week to nurture your confidence, even if you have to start small. I think I said this to you recently. I'm pretty sure it was you. But I don't know. Like, you're the only person that really gets this message that, you know, you should do things that make you slightly more confident every single day. You know, again, I think if you work on those like 1% improvements that, you know, before you know it, you'll be much, much more successful. I don't think you have to make these big, huge leaps, you know. It's like everybody else, you know, and I shouldn't say everybody else, but like most of the other signs, I think they have to take much bigger risks, if that makes sense. For you, I feel like you can start much smaller, and, you know, I would, obviously. With the Seven of Swords, you have the Sun. Everybody's had the Sun in October, so, you know, I don't know. October might be a much better month than we're expecting. I don't know. I think I'm a little, I don't want to say worried, but I think the end of the year here is going to be crazy. So, you know, it is what it is. But, you know, obviously there could be a lot of happiness. You know, this can also say that you are becoming aware. The sun shines a light on something we need to pay attention to. And so the sun is like a spotlight on the Seven of Swords. And you could be becoming aware this week of a solution or a better way of doing things, and I would pay attention. With the King of Swords, you have the Queen of Cups. Yeah, card of nurturing yourself. You know, she really nurtures her heart. And I think that would be a great energy for you with this card. So I would like nurture and heal your heart with the Queen of Cups. With the Queen of Wands, you have the Judgment card. Yeah, it's like this is what you're working towards, is a new life, basically. I mean, it's obvious with Pluto in your sign to me that, you know, you are totally going to reinvent yourself over the next, like, 19 years. It probably won't take 19 years, you know, or 20-ish years. But, you know, again, it's like a process that you'll be going through. And, yeah, I just think you're kind of, like, waking up here with the Judgment card and that Queen of Wands. And again, I think working on confidence would be a great thing for you to do, basically. We're going to take all three of these monthly cards because why not? And let's see. You have this kite card that says vacation on it. Yeah, again, everybody's like had the Four Swords except for you actually, but you do have that card that said seek healing. So I think it would be a great time to heal, rest, relax, recover, all that. You have this December card and this horse card. It says short journey on it. Some of you could be traveling between now and December. And if you are, there could be some benefits, or it could be your vacation that you're going on. You have this March card and this boat. It says money or property through inheritance, winning, or windfall. Yes, I talk about March all the time. March is when the energy really starts getting going next year. We have Saturn retrograde, Neptune retrograde. Neptune moves back into Aries in January, Saturn in February, and some other things will get moving by that time as well. March is a good time next year. I think that's not that again, I always hesitate to say this because I think sometimes when I say like March, people are like, oh, I can't do anything till March. It's like, no, you will make progress. Astrology is not a hard start or a hard stop. It's like you should be working all until that time of March, but again, there could be some results by the time we get to March for you. You have a September card in this box. It says you will receive a gift. I think you need to open a gift is the weird thing that's popping into my head with this card. I feel like there is a gift right in front of you. I don't know what it is. It could be anything. Maybe you know what it is when I say that, but I think you need to open it. Maybe this is where that whole escalation message is coming from here in this reading. It's like if you would just kind of like escalate and take something to that next step. That's where the gift would come from. You have this archway. It says new opportunities, possibilities, and paths opening up. Yes, the whole entire reading basically says that. But this looks pretty good, Aquarius. Make sure to leave a comment. I keep forgetting to say that, but I have to nowadays. So thank you for that, and definitely enjoy your week.